Once again, welcome back to Crypto Toro. And today, during the live stream, I would like to talk about several types of different cryptocurrencies. But I would like to start by taking a look at these tweets from Glassnode alerts. So let's take a look and let's get started as well. So 1 second, please. There we go. And what we're seeing here is actually this major tweet of Glassnode alerts, where it says Bitcoin of BUSD, number of exchange deposit, 7-day moving average just reached a 1-year low of 1.821. Previous 1-year low of 1.839 was observed on the 15th of June 2020. So it's almost 1 year ago when the previous low was actually reached. And what you're seeing over here is actually something very significant. So BUSD number of exchange deposits. You can see that the deposits have been dropping massively on the exchange deposits. So people are right now not investing in crypto. And I personally think, how is this even possible? Because I think right now we are seeing this massive price action towards the downside on Bitcoin, on different types of cryptocurrencies. We are seeing major cryptocurrencies fall all the way down, and I'm personally just like wondering why people are right now not buying crypto at all. So for sure, very interesting to take a look what the price action is going to be. And let's take a look and get started on what Bitcoin is actually telling us. And also, I wanted just to say one thing before I get started is I changed the settings of my setup. So for the viewers who have watched me previously and have seen my videos, if you like this new setup, don't forget to leave a comment down below if you are able to see the charts clearer now than previously. So please let me know, and I would really appreciate that. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and where we're currently standing. So we're over here on the Bitcoin chart, and what I'm personally seeing is something quite significant because we are right now trading on top of this level of support. And this level of support, as you can see, is approximately at $35,525. And as I said previously during my channel, I personally think that we will be seeing Bitcoin during the upcoming days or even weeks trade in between the $33,500 and the $42,000. And yes, I'm always very bullish on Bitcoin in the long term and also in the medium term. And right now, in the short term, I'm just a little bit careful or more considering that it might go further down, and I don't think it will happen because I think $30,500 will be a major level of support. So that is the lower area of the orange box, what we have seen previously, where the orange box has supported Bitcoin already several times, and only this wick of this candle was able to break below the $30,500 and went all the way down towards the $29,555. But I personally think that this will be a major stronghold for Bitcoin for the upcoming weeks for sure. And what I actually wanted to show you right now, we are seeing a type of construction of this consolidation at this certain level in between the, let's say, take a look, 31,547 and $40,690. We are seeing right now something that I think in particular is not very good. We are seeing lower highs getting created on the Bitcoin chart, and that's for sure something I would like to see how it's going to play itself out. We are seeing lower highs, but also right now we are seeing a lower low structure during the past two breakouts towards the downside, and this might be the third lower low if we are heading towards the 30,500 level. But I personally think that could be possible. But right now, I'm just looking at this and I think it is looking quite good for me for sure. So Melvin Cobans, welcome to this stream. I really appreciate you being here. If you're liking the content so far, don't forget to give me a like. And if you want me to take a look at a coin you are especially interested in, don't forget to ask me down below. So thank you very much once again, and let's take a look at what we are furtherly seeing over here on the Bitcoin chart. So if we enable the moving the EMA ribbon, we are seeing right now that for the very first time we broke below, we were able, sorry, before we saw that the EMA ribbon was towards the downside, we saw that the longs took over the shorts at this period of time over here. And once we broke below the EMA ribbon, it served as a major level of resistance. We weren't not able to break out twice above the EMA ribbon and found support on top of it. And just a couple of days ago, we were able to break above the EMA ribbon. We found support on top of the EMA ribbon, as you could see over here. These candles were all supported by the EMA ribbon. And actually, we saw a slight change of the EMA ribbon, the longs taking over the shorts. But right now, what we're currently seeing is actually that the shorts took over the longs once again, and that Bitcoin broke below the EMA ribbon for the second time already in a short period of time. And right now, we are finding overhead resistance by the EMA ribbon. And this is also personally why I think it is very likely that we will see a downward momentum getting started just for a couple of days, especially because it takes quite a while sometimes when we break below the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame to get above it. For sure, it could be different this time, but I think a retest of this $33,500 level on top of the orange box would still be very healthy and significant for Bitcoin to get even further up, especially also because if we see more times that Bitcoin gets supported on this $33,000 level, or just say it gets supported by the orange box, the orange box becomes more significant each time this happens, and that's for sure something you would like to take into consideration. So if we take a look also not just at the moving averages, but we enable on the 4-hourly time frame the relative strength index, I personally think that it's looking quite good. Last year we saw a minor drop towards the downside getting started, and also if we head even further down below, there's still enough space for the RSI to break below the dotted line. And as I said previously, once we break above the dotted line on the upper part or underneath the dotted line on the lower area of the purple area of the RSI, that's for sure will indicate that we will eventually see a return into the orange area, into the purple area, and that will for sure also be very important for the price action of Bitcoin, because as you could see over here, once we broke below the dotted line on the lower part of the RSI, we saw this dip all the way towards $31,490, but afterwards we saw this major uptrend getting started on the RSI, and also the charts followed. So the price action of Bitcoin will eventually go up once we break below this dotted line on the RSI, and I think for sure that will happen once again inside of the orange box. As you could see over here, it is something quite similar as what we have seen before. So for sure, very important to take a look at the RSI and when we will be heading below the dotted line on the 4-hourly time frame. And also, let's enable the MACD and take a look at what Bitcoin is telling us. So if we take a look at the MACD, we saw that just let's take a look. Tonight we saw on, let's say at midnight, we saw a crossover of this downward momentum getting started. Right now we are seeing the MACD telling us that there will be downward momentum coming up for the upcoming days, and that is very likely to push the Bitcoin price a little bit further down. But what I think is very interesting is that there are a lot of short persons right now, and what I personally wanted to show you was, let's take a look, exchanges, spot. Oh, I'm very sorry. I should have placed this before. 1 second, please. So this is very interesting for me because we have to take a look how strong this level of support will be on the orange box. For sure, very interesting. And also the MACD, the MACD is showing us that we are seeing downward momentum getting started. So it could be very possible that we will be heading even further down. Also, what I wanted to take a look at is something very interesting to me, and that's the daily time frame on the Bitcoin chart, and also take a look at the moving averages. So if we take a look at the moving averages, once it's loaded, what we will be seeing is that they are still above the Bitcoin price action. The 200-day moving average is approximately at $41,000, and afterwards we were seeing right now the 50-day moving average at approximately $42,000, $893 level, and the 100-day moving average at approximately $45,000. So all three moving averages are actually above the Bitcoin price action where we're currently at, and I think it is very important for Bitcoin to wait until the moving averages will serve as a major level of resistance right on top of where we are currently trading at, to be able to break above it, find support on top of it, and head all the way towards the upside. So for sure, the moving averages right now are heading way closer to where we are currently trading at, and once we break above those moving average, I think we will be seeing a major move towards the upside for sure getting started. And yeah, that is something what I personally wanted to take a look at. But let's also take a look at something completely different, and that is actually this over here. So we are seeing right now this chart. I already draw the Fibonacci level from the beginning of the bull market all the way towards the all-time high, and what we are seeing is actually where we could be possibly heading to once we break that major level at $33,000. And also I think it is very important to enable one more level of support at the $30,500. So 30,500, that is approximately around here, let's say. This is a very important level, so for sure very interesting to take a look at if we are able to get supported by the $30,000 level. But what will happen with Bitcoin once we break out towards the downside underneath the purple box, underneath the $30,500 level? So if we break below this level of support, I personally think that we will be heading further down all the way to the $27,000 level, $861, also because that is the 0.786 Fibonacci level. And it's still possible that we will be heading even further down all the way towards the $18,000, but I think that is not as likely, because we are still seeing major levels of support and resistance all the way in between the $27,000 and the $18,000. So for sure, I don't think this major gap will actually be filled if we break out towards the downside. I personally think it is more likely that we will be supported on top of this, and for sure what I personally think is even more likely is that we will get supported by the orange box over here. So this is the orange box in between the two lines at $30,500 and $33,995. So for sure, this is what I wanted to show you about Bitcoin price action. And if you're liking the content so far, and if you haven't seen my videos before, do not forget to watch those. But also I wanted to tell you that I right now am having this very important Discord server, and you are able to just join this community by clicking on the link down below underneath the video. And that is just something I would really appreciate. You will be able to exchange your knowledge about cryptocurrencies, and I will also be giving updates about the current markets. So perfect. If someone has a question or would like me to take a look at a particular coin, do not forget to ask me those questions, because I will be very glad to answer those for sure. So at the Ethereum chart on the 4-hourly time frame, we are seeing something very important on the Ethereum compared to the US dollar. So right now we were seeing this ascending triangle getting created. We broke below this ascending triangle on the 4-hourly, and I personally think that we draw this triangle on the 2 or 3-hourly, especially because what I'm seeing over here is I think we have drawn this on the 2-hourly time frame. I will be disabling the moving averages, and what you are seeing over here is that we broke below the upward sloping support. So very important. So I will be removing the horizontal level of resistance, especially because we already saw this triangle playing itself out towards the downside. But actually I will leave it there. Just don't take it into account right now. So what we are seeing on the Ethereum price action is something very important, because if we take a closer look at where we are exactly trading at right now, is very interesting. We were supported by the orange box on the Ethereum chart right now, and I think that is very important because the $2,280 level is where we are trading above and where we were finding resistance. And why I think this is a major level of support and resistance is because previous data shows that we traded for quite a while inside of the orange box, above the orange box, or underneath it. So I won't be showing you where exactly we have seen that all the touch points, but what I wanted to show you is that right now it is very important and very significant that we found support on top of this orange box. For sure, very significant. And also what I think is very important as well, even right now we broke below the upward sloping support line of this ascending triangle that was getting started on the 2-hourly time frame. I personally think we are still seeing something very good going on and playing itself out, because we are seeing still this higher low structure getting started. You can see over here that on the 2-hourly time frame we are seeing still higher lows getting created on the Ethereum compared to US dollar chart. This higher low is still just a small tad higher than the previous low, but it still counts as a higher low, and that's for sure something very important to look at. So very sorry, as I said before during my live streams, I'm very allergic for the spring and all the type of flowers that are right now blossoming, so that is why I'm quite allergic. And this is for sure a possible breakout that won't occur all the way as we measured from this potential move towards the downside of this ascending triangle should have been way further than where we are currently finding support on, because this was a move of approximately 30% towards the downside. And if we measure it from its beginning of the breakout underneath the horizontal upward sloping support, you could see that if we had a breakout of 31% occurring, we would actually head all the way towards, let's say, the $1,690. But for sure that is not something we are seeing right now, and I personally think due to the higher low structure that we are seeing on the Ethereum chart, that it is very, very bullish still, and especially because it holds strong on top of the orange box. Very interesting to take a look at that. And also I will be going towards the 4-hourly time frame to take a look at the EMA ribbon, the moving averages, the MACD, and the RSI. So if we take a look at the EMA ribbon, what we're seeing over here is actually something very important, because we broke below the EMA ribbon. We were not able to find support on top of the EMA ribbon. We got rejected by it once we tried to retest the EMA ribbon after the breakout towards the downside. We got rejected and we were supported on top of the orange box. For sure, right now we are seeing the price action of Ethereum once again going a little bit up, and I personally think that we will be retesting the EMA ribbon once again. For sure, this is very important, because I think this is very important, especially because we will be also retesting the EMA ribbon, and that could possibly mean that we will see a rejection once again getting started and breaking below the level of previous support at approximately, let's take a look, $2,280, and we will be heading even further down, maybe towards the $2,055 level. Melvin Koopmans, thank you very much for watching the stream, and have a lot of luck at work. So I wish you a pleasant day, and I hope you enjoyed the content so far. So bye bye, Melvin. Have a nice day. For all of you watching, people who would like me to take a look at, for example, if you're holding Theta Fuel or Polkadot, I will be taking a look at those in just a second. But if you have another cryptocurrency that you would like to request, don't hesitate to ask down below in the comment section. So that will be for sure very good to know. And what I think is also very important to take into consideration on the Ethereum chart is that this upward sloping support will be serving as a major level of resistance right now because we broke below it. So this will be an upward sloping resistance for sure right now, due to the fact that we broke below this level at this certain point in time. And as I said previously, I will be leaving this green downward sloping resistance because once we broke above it, we saw the trend reversal and the accumulation phase in between these levels where we'd be trading at. So in between the $2,080 at $280 and the $2,900. So we saw Ethereum actually consolidating at that point after we broke above this downward sloping resistance. But I will be leaving this resistance line if we eventually break underneath the $2,000 level. This will be a major level of support, and that is why I'm leaving it over here to take that into consideration in the future if we tend to see a breakout towards the downside occur. So for sure, Ethereum right now is holding strong on this level of support, but the retest of the email ribbon will be really significant to see what the price action of Ethereum is going to do. Also, I would like to enable the RSI because we might be able to spot a bullish or bearish divergence. If we take a look at the RSI right now, so let's take a closer look. And as I said before, I hope you are liking the new settings of the screen. If you do not like the new settings, please make sure to tell me in the comment section if you think the previous videos were better. So what we are seeing over here is, for sure, over here we are seeing a lower high structure on the RSI, a lower high structure on the chart. We are also over here seeing a lower low on the chart, and for sure we are seeing also a lower low on the RSI. So the RSI is looking quite good for now. And what I'm personally very glad to see is that we are trading all the way on the lower part of the purple area, and once we break underneath the dotted line, for sure we will be seeing afterwards a price action towards the downside, towards the upside occur, because the RSI would like to re-enter the purple area, and that will also have an effect to the for the price action of Ethereum. And because we are trading so low, almost breaking underneath the dotted line on the lower area of the RSI, for sure I think it is very likely that if we see more downward momentum getting started, breaking underneath the $2,280 level, that we will for sure be going straight back up due to the RSI that is already very low inside of the purple area. So for sure the RSI is looking very good for Ethereum right now. It is telling us that we might be able to go even further up once we break a little bit further down, and that we will see a good recovery. And Andrew Latham, welcome to the live stream, and I hope you're enjoying the content so far. And thank you very much for telling me how I think you are meaning to tell me how the screen is looking today. So we are seeing this downward momentum on the MACD that got started several days ago. At approximately the 10th of June, we saw this crossover on the MACD. We saw downward momentum getting started, and for sure we are right now heading towards a more lower part over here. And once we see a crossover occur once again on the MACD, I for sure think we will be able to break above the EMA ribbon that is serving as a level of major resistance right now. But before, we will have to take a look what the price action is going to do, and if Ethereum will be able to hold strong on top of this level of support, on top of the orange box at $2,280. So very important to take that level into consideration. And also, for the people who are right now currently trading and thought this pattern would have gone up instead of down, and you placed an order, or you wanted to place an order once you saw the retest of this upward sloping support, I hope personally that you actually waited for this to be confirmed and that you did not enter a long position once you saw just the test of that support. Because as you could see over here, before we were getting supported by this upward sloping support, but eventually we broke down below. So be very careful, guys, by trading with leverage right now, because the market is still very volatile, and you can see that even these patterns as a ascending triangle that we spotted on the 2-hourly time frame, and it's a quite significant pattern, and you can also see it right now on the 4-hourly time frame that you are still seeing that pattern getting started. I think you have to be very careful, and you have to wait right now for cryptocurrencies to actually confirm the breakout by breaking above the horizontal level of resistance, finding support on top of it, and once they find support on top of it, that is exactly the entry point you would like to have to enter a trade towards the upside. Otherwise, you have to just spot trade. Right now, I think is a perfect level of accumulation for Ethereum. So if you are right now thinking, should I buy more Ethereum, yes or no? For sure, I personally think this is a major level of accumulation, and I think it's quite a good thing to do right now. But for sure, it's just my personal opinion, and you have to do your own due diligence for sure. But right now, I'm taking a look at Ethereum and thinking, this is just amazing that we found support on top of it, and I think it is very likely that we will see Ethereum just head further up during the upcoming days, and not seeing Ethereum even going further down. So let's take a look at this. This is the daily chart for Ethereum compared to the US dollar. We are seeing the moving averages. The 100-day moving average is serving as a major level of resistance right now. We saw previously that it served as a level of support while we were retesting the upward sloping resistance, and that is also personally why I thought this would be a level where we could have seen Ethereum go up once again, especially because we were also finding support by the 100-day moving average. But for sure, the price action of Ethereum was further towards the downside, and these levels were not able to stop that, and it found support on top of the $2,280 level. And underneath the orange box, for the people who are thinking that Ethereum will go even further down below, I personally think that it won't be heading way further down than the $19 level, sorry, that the 1,952,000 level, because we are seeing the 200-day moving average over here. And if this takes still quite a while to break below the $2,280 level, for sure the 200-day moving average will be heading all the way to enter the orange box. And once this happens, this will be a more significant level of support and resistance. And once this occurs, I personally think that it will be very likely that we will see a potential breakout above the 100-day moving average, especially because the 200-day moving average will be closing by and serving as support once it does so. So very, very important to take a look at the moving averages on the daily time frame compared to the US dollar. And let's take a look at Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. So on the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin chart, we saw this major uptrend getting started. We saw several retests on the daily time frame, and right now we are seeing this major downtrend getting started. Unfortunately, we are not seeing that higher low structure getting created. We broke below it, and I personally would have loved to see Ethereum find support on top of this level of support. But what we're seeing right now is currently that Ethereum is telling us something quite different. So it is breaking down below. So Digibytes, Genson Muka, I'm very sorry for the pronunciation if I'm not right. I would like to take a look at Digibytes in just a few seconds, just once I finished the Ethereum compared to Bitcoin evaluation. And let's take a look at the moving averages. So what I think is very important for sure here is that we are right now getting supported by the 50-day moving average. And once this happens for the very last time, we saw it with the wick of this candle. We saw that this wick got supported by the 50-day moving average. And I personally think that this will be a stronghold for sure, and that if we break even further down below, that the 100-day moving average will be serving as a major level of support. And I'm actually not doubting about that at all. I personally think that that will be the level where we will be heading to if we see further price action towards the downside. But as we saw on the US dollar chart, the RSI is actually quite exhausted. Lots of people are selling their Ethereum, and that is personally also why I think that we won't be heading even further down below, and also due to the fact that we are right now inside of the 50-day moving average, and we are finding support as well on top of this level of support compared to Bitcoin. Also, let's take a look at the 4-hourly time frame, and let's take a look at the MACD on the compared to Bitcoin chart, and lastly also to the EMA ribbon compared to Bitcoin. So let's take firstly a look at the EMA ribbon. The EMA ribbon, we broke below the EMA ribbon. Right now, what we are seeing is that the EMA ribbon is serving as a major level of resistance. We haven't tested the EMA ribbon yet, and I think that will be for sure a level of resistance that will be rejecting Bitcoin once again. That will be rejecting Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, and that we will see still a small correction before we will be able to break above the EMA ribbon. So the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame is looking but it's looking as a major level of resistance, and that will be quite difficult to break above. And sorry for this, but I will be heading towards the daily time frame to just show you that we are right now trading at the lowest part of the EMA ribbon, and once this occurred for the last time was actually quite a while ago. And what I think is very important is that we do not want to see Ethereum switching its momentum towards the downside on the daily EMA ribbon, and we want to see Ethereum get supported by it and heading straight back up, finding support on top of it as it did previously once it went all the way inside of the wave lines of the EMA ribbon. And for sure that is important. You want to see Ethereum heading back up and finding support on top of the daily EMA ribbon compared to Bitcoin. Otherwise, I think it will be quite likely that we will see major downward momentum getting started on the Ethereum chart. So take this into consideration. Don't forget. Very sorry. Let's take a look, guys. I'm just waiting for the 4-hourly time frame to load, and what we're seeing over here is the EMA ribbon as I showed you previously. And lastly, I wanted to take a look at the at the MACD. So the MACD, what is the MACD actually telling us? We are seeing the MACD over here, and I think it is absolutely wonderful what we are seeing, because what we are seeing is actually the MACD that is getting a crossover anytime soon. So I will be actually updating all of us due to this major move towards the upside. I think this is very significant, and I personally think that once you see a crossover on the MACD, we will be able to break above the EMA ribbon. And why I personally think this will be very likely to occur compared to Bitcoin is because what we're seeing over here is just absolutely wonderful. The MACD is always a momentum indicator that shows us once we will be seeing momentum towards the upside getting created. And as you saw previously, for example, over here, we had a crossover. And after this crossover, we saw this major surge in the price action of Bitcoin, the price action of Ethereum, or in the strength compared to Bitcoin. I'm sorry, in the strength compared to Bitcoin. And that could be possibly happening once again. And for sure, I think it will be a major level of a major move towards the upside and a major momentum towards the upside, because we already saw this major downward momentum before. So it could still be just a small momentum, but afterwards it will be possibly crossing once again and heading all the way towards the upside, able to break above the EMA ribbon. So this is looking very good right now, and that is also why I would like to just for one quick second take a look at this a little bit more closely, so we are able to see what's going on. So let's take a look over here. Perfect. And let's enable the EMA ribbon so you can take a look. What we could possibly see is a retest of the EMA ribbon getting rejected, and also the momentum towards the upside once again, and afterwards seeing a major move breaking above the EMA ribbon and finding support on top of it. So that is very, very important to take a look at. So for sure, don't forget. Let's take a look at Digibyte. So Digibyte, for the people who do not know it, Digibyte, I think it's a wonderful coin. It has a lot of potential. It's at rank 84 right now. It has been a top coin in the past. It has a lot of potential for sure, and I think Digibyte is something you don't want to miss out on once it breaks towards the upside. And you could see over here that this year we already saw a new all-time high getting created on Digibyte. Right now it had a major price action towards the downside, also due to the Bitcoin price action, of course. And if we take a look at the 3-month chart, it is going even further down. So if we take a look at CoinGecko right now, to take a look at Digibyte as well, I think CoinGecko is a very good site, especially due to their indicators over here that are telling us what is actually exactly happening on the 30, 14 day and 1 year. And what you're seeing over here, if you take a look at the past 24 hours, we're seeing a 11% move towards the downside. The past 7 days are looking quite red as well. The past 14 days too. And the past 30 days, we saw that 52% correction. And as I told all people before, 52% corrections are something that occurs just regularly in the cryptocurrency, especially once you are in a bull market. A 50% correction is still very healthy, and I think this is something you don't want to be freaking out about. I think this is a major discount if you would like to accumulate more Digibyte for sure. So let's take a look at the Digibyte chart. So Digibyte, it should be somewhere here, but there are just, I think it's over here. Yes, this is Digibyte. So let's take a look at Digibyte, and let's get started by actually taking a look at the Digibyte compared to Bitcoin chart. I will be disabling the EMA ribbon. I will be disabling the MACD, and I will be taking a look firstly at this downward sloping resistance line. So this downward sloping resistance line is actually a line where we have been rejected already several times. You could see that we were trading underneath it for quite a while. We were breaking out towards the downside every time we tried to retest this downward sloping resistance. And once we saw that happen once again, just a few weeks later, we saw once again that we were getting rejected. So for sure, I think this is very important right now. You would like to see Digibyte breaking above this downward sloping resistance on the 4-hourly time frame to confirm the actually trend reversal. So I personally think right now, yes, it is a major sell-off for Digibyte, and for sure I think Digibyte has a lot of potential in the future as well to be able to break records on their all-time high, and that they will still be creating new all-time highs. But what I'm trying to say right here is something very important, and that is that you don't want to be buying this right now because we are not seeing a breakout above this downward sloping resistance, and that is for sure the trend right now. The current trend is towards the downside, as you can clearly see over here. We are seeing a higher low structure each time getting created, higher lows, and right now over here, well, here we are not seeing a higher low structure. They are actually all even, but they're still lower than the previous highs. And over here we are seeing still as well a lower high getting created. So those lower highs overall have to be broken before we will see a trend reversal on the Digibyte chart. And I personally think if you would like to trade safe and you would like to you would like to buy Digibyte with the best possible risk versus reward method, you have to wait for Digibyte to break above this downward sloping resistance, because once it does so, you will be buying actually once we see a trend reversal. So you would like to see Digibyte actually breaking out above this downward sloping resistance, finding support on top of it, and trading further, perhaps trading sideways for a while before heading further towards the upside. But that is for sure my personal opinion. I think, yes, we saw already that 50% correction, and lots of people might disagree with me that you could possibly be buying right now. But if you take it, for example, into comparison with Ethereum, where I draw a downward sloping resistance line as well, you could see that on the Ethereum downward sloping resistance, once it's loaded, we already broke above that downward sloping resistance line, and we are trading sideways over there. So here you are, Ethereum compared to the US dollar, and what we are seeing over here is exactly what I wanted to talk about, and that is that what you're seeing is that on the 4-hourly time frame, Ethereum had a major resistance of this downward sloping resistance. It was rejected several times, and once it broke above it, and we saw a confirmation of it. So exactly what I am telling you right now to wait for on the Digibyte chart. So a breakout, the breakout happened actually over here. Afterwards, we saw the confirmation at this point, and it traded further sideways. And that is what you would like to see on Digibyte as well. You would like to see Digibyte breaking above the downward sloping resistance, finding support on top of it, and once it finds support on top of it, I think that will be for sure very, very important, because once it breaks out above of it, we will see Digibyte actually having a trend reversal compared to Bitcoin, and that could possibly mean that we will see a major source in the price action. Very interesting for sure. And if we take a look at the daily time frame compared to Bitcoin, I will be enabling just the MACD and the moving averages. But if we take a look at the MACD, for example, what we're seeing over here, if we take a closer look as well. So this is the chart is towards the downside, and you could see over here that we are seeing a crossover of the MACD as well. So this crossover is actually telling us that we are seeing downward momentum getting started on the MACD, and that is for sure something you do not want to, well, ignore for sure, because if you're right now currently buying Digibyte, for sure you are having that 50% discount. But let's say right now you are going to a shop, for example, and you are seeing a can of tuna, and that can of tuna is 50% off, and you wanted to purchase that already, but you are also seeing right next to it another can of tuna that will be in a discount in the next, well, let's say tomorrow, but the discount of that can of tuna will be, instead of 50%, 60%. Then you might possibly be waiting one extra day to purchase the other can of tuna at even cheaper prices. I know it's quite a weird reference with the tuna and all, but what I meant to say is that right now I think it is preferable to wait one more day before buying Digibyte to see if you could possibly have a 60% discount instead of a 50% discount. And I think that is quite a big difference in between the 50 and 60%. And let's enable the moving average to take a look what they are telling us. So also on the moving averages, compared to Bitcoin, it's not holding very strong. It broke below the 200-day moving average, and as you can see, the wick of this doji candle right here that's getting formed is actually getting resistance. Is finding it quite difficult to break above this resistance level, and I personally think that that is for sure something that will be pushing the strength compared to Bitcoin further below and further down for Digibyte during the next upcoming days, and that Digibyte won't be able to break this downward sloping resistance and finding support on top of it anytime soon. So for sure, this is very interesting on the daily time frame, and the daily time frame, as I said before, is very, very significant and very important to take into consideration. So for sure, you do not want to purchase Digibyte right now. I personally would wait for sure. So Jensen Muka, I really hope you are liking the analysis on Digibyte right now. And for the people who are watching, do not forget that if you're liking the content so far, don't forget to hit the like button down below and also subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to trade or buy any type of cryptocurrency, don't forget that down below you will be able to find the top 4 leverage trading exchanges where you can also spot trade on, and you will be supporting the channel by doing so. Also, on Gate.io, you will be able to trade up to 736 different type of cryptocurrencies in just one exchange, and that is for sure something very amazing, because you won't be, well, switching your cryptocurrencies from one exchange to another. And I think that is just something marvelous to do. So thank you very much for watching the live stream so far, and let's take a look at the Digibyte compared to the US dollar chart. So over here, I'm going to take a look at the daily time frame and just take a look at 2 things: the moving averages. And for sure, what we're seeing on the moving averages is something very important. The moving averages, we broke below the 200-day moving average actually quite a while ago. We tried to break above it over here. We saw these 2 candles were able to find support on top of it, but immediately afterwards, we saw a breakout below it. We saw once again that Digibyte found support on top of it for a while, and the candles broke down below it. And right now it served as a major level of resistance, as you can see over here. It is very important to take this into consideration, and I think what is foremost very important is that we are breaking below this orange box, and the orange boxes in my channel, for the people who haven't seen my videos before, are major levels of support and resistance. And as you can clearly see in the past, if we take a look at past data, we traded in between this level of support and resistance quite for a long time. We were finding resistance at the beginning. Afterwards, we broke inside of it. We traded inside. We broke above it. We went down below. We found support on top of the lower part of the orange box. We broke above it. We found resistance on top, and etc. So this is a major level of support and resistance. And what I think is very important, if you take a close look, is that we are right now breaking underneath the $0.55 level. And I think for sure this is something you do not want to see, especially because the moving averages are also serving as a major level of resistance on the daily time frame. So currently, I would say be careful with Digibyte. If you would like to purchase, I would wait a little bit longer because then you will be able to accumulate even more Digibyte for cheaper prices. And okay, the relative strength index, I enabled it so I could take a look at it as well, because why not? And what you're seeing over here is something I think is very good to know. The RSI is at the lower part of the purple area, and that could mean that if we break below the dotted line on the lower part, we will see the price action of Digibyte go up once again. So it is likely that if we break out towards the downside, it won't be a major breakout that we will be seeing getting started on the chart for sure. Oh, and I'm very sorry, I did not enable the MACD, and what the MACD is telling us is that we could possibly be seeing, as you can see over here, a crossover getting started and major downward momentum getting created. So for sure, the price action of Digibyte won't be going up during the upcoming hours. That is something I can tell you right away. And if we take a look at the 4-hourly time frame, where I think it is even more clearer to see, is that we are seeing that lower high structure getting created. We are seeing a lower high, we are seeing a lower high, lower high, lower high. So this is for sure a downward trend that we're seeing, and I personally think that this level of support and resistance where we're trading on top of it right now won't be holding strong for a long time, especially because we saw that the MACD is actually telling us that we will see downward momentum getting started, and the moving averages are serving as major levels of resistance. So let's take a look at the EMA ribbon, and the EMA ribbon has served as a major level of resistance for quite a while now. We have been rejected multiple times, and I personally think because we were only able to break above it for quite a short time, and we broke down below it actually just a couple of days after we broke above it, personally I think it is very likely that once we see a retest once again occur, that we will be rejected once more and head even further down. So let's take a look if we are spotting any type of patterns or any kind of significant breakouts towards the downside. And yeah, you could be seeing this as a possible pattern. So let's draw it to take a look at what we're seeing over here. So, and actually I will be removing this and I will take a look at the 2-hourly time frame. And right now I will be taking a look at the 2-hourly time frame because I think that is possibly more significant to spot a pattern. And for sure, I think patterns are important, but sometimes you can't spot patterns all the time. So as you can see over here, I don't think this is actually a reliable pattern. We are only seeing a few touch points and the lines are actually not very symmetrical, ascending or descending for sure. So you're not seeing a triangle getting created. So let's say we take a look at this as a overall accumulation and we enable a parallel channel. If we take a look at the parallel channel, that might be giving us a clearer look at what we are actually seeing over here. So if we place the parallel channel just like this, we can see that we found already twice, we found resistance on the upper part. We were rejected by this horizontal level of resistance once we tried to break above it, and the horizontal level of support down below has been holding strong already for the fourth time. Right now we are testing this level of support. So previous data shows us that it is possible that we will be heading further up because this is a major level of support, but as we saw on the daily time frame, it is very likely that this won't be occurring. So what will a possible breakout look like? What I personally think is that we will be seeing a possible breakout occur, and how that breakout is going to be measured by me is by selecting the horizontal level of resistance and heading all the way back down towards the touch point of the horizontal level of support. And if we make the chart a little bit smaller, place it like this, all the way towards this breakout, you will see that we will be heading all the way towards this 0.02 cent level. Personally, I think that is something quite harsh to occur, especially if we take a look at the 4-hourly. That would be meaning that we will be heading all the way towards the beginning of the bull run at approximately 27th of January. So it will be, let's say, just at the beginning of the bull market for Bitcoin for sure. That hasn't ended in my opinion, but for Digibyte, it's not looking very strong right now. So a possible breakout all the way toward the 0.02 level is probable, and that would be a major move towards the downside of approximately 46%. So due to the already quite significant price action towards the downside that we saw during the past couple of days on CoinGecko of approximately 53%, I personally think that it is very unlikely that we will see even more momentum towards the downside getting created, even going all the way towards the 0.02 level. So my personal opinion is that it is very likely that we will be holding strong somewhere in between the 0.02. Maybe perhaps we will be finding support at this level over here, where we saw the first breakout towards the upside occur, where we got resistance for quite a while. That could be a possible level of support at 0.03, and yeah, that could be something that could possibly happen for Digibyte. So if you're enjoying the content so far about Digibyte, don't forget to give me a like down below in the comment section. And if you would like me to take a look at a specific type of cryptocurrency, don't forget to leave a message down below in the comment section to take a look at what's currently going on, and so I could be able to take a look at the cryptocurrency of your personal interest. Let's take a look actually at a few things and on the news right now. I'm looking at Cointelegraph, and what I'm seeing over here is the pronouncement from the G7 to allow green fintech to flourish. So, sustainability and the need to lessen climate change amid the COVID-19 pandemic have become the global economic agenda. After debating the issue for over 8 years, the Secretary General of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Matthias Cormann, welcomed a historic international agreement by G7 finance ministers from the United States, Japan, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, on key elements of global tax reform designed to address the tax challenges related to the digitalization and the globalization of the economy amid the world economy digitizing at fast pace with the occurrence of the COVID-19 pandemic. So for sure, this is very, very interesting and very good to know, because they're actually planning on a worldwide tax reform. So this could potentially mean that overall, where you are, it won't matter what the country's laws or taxes are, you would still pay a minimum amount everywhere around the world for any type of transaction, crypto or not crypto at all. So let's take a good look. The agreement mandates that the largest multinational tech giants pay their fair share of tax in the countries in which they operate, at global minimum rate of at least 15%. In the agreement, it's finalized. It could help build momentum for a wider deal being discussed in talks held in Paris among more than 139 countries, as well as the upcoming G20 finance ministers meeting in Venice in July. The G7 nations also agreed to follow the UK's lead and make climate reporting mandatory, and they agreed on measures to crack down on the process of environmental crimes to ensure markets play their part in the transition to net zero. So, what they're planning is at least 15% global rate of taxes, and I think that is something that will be quite difficult for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies overall, because lots of people are right now very interested in crypto, especially because the taxes are so low at some parts. And I think that will be a type of blockade just for a small period of time for some people to invest in cryptocurrencies. Eventually, as you can see, there are a lot of people and a lot of interest overall by big tech and also by countries, as you could see, from El Salvador and other Latin American countries. And I think those countries will eventually be the transition towards a global acceptance of cryptocurrencies. For sure, that is what my personal opinion is. But yeah, this tax could probably lead to a, well, significant, or I think it could be quite significant for cryptocurrencies overall, because people will be a little bit more careful in investing in them due to the taxes that they will have to pay if this is something that will occur after this weekend's G7 meeting. So G7, very sorry, I have to charge. Perfect. G7 finance ministers have reached a historic agreement to reform the global tax system to make it fit for the global digital age. He also added, these systemic tax reforms are something the UK has been pushing for, and a huge prize for the British taxpayer, creating a fairer tax system fit for the 21st century. This is a truly historic agreement, and I'm proud the G7 has shown collective leadership at this crucial time in our global economic recovery. OECD Secretary General Cormann also enthusiastically welcomed the outcome of the G7 finance minister meeting. The combined effect of the the combined effect of the globalization and the digitalization of our economies has caused distortions and inequities, which can only be effectively addressed through a multilateral agreed solution. He continued, today's consensus among the G7 finance ministers, including a minimum level of global taxation, is landmark step forward the global consensus necessary to reform the international tax system. There is important work left to do, but this decision adds important momentum to the coming discussions among the 139 member countries and jurisdictions of the OECD G20. Inclusively framework on BEPS, where we continue to seek a final agreement ensuring that multinational companies pay their fair share everywhere. So for sure, for the overall world and for the overall time, I think it is very good for especially multinationals to be actually paying taxes everywhere around the world, and that they won't be able to go to, well, some tax havens where they do not have to pay any taxes at all. But that is just something I think in particular would be quite good for international companies to stick to their countries and to be actually paying the taxes that they actually have to be paying, because all the hardworking people and the people who actually live in those countries do have to pay those taxes, and sometimes multinationals do not have to pay anything at all. And I think that is quite unfair for sure, but for cryptocurrencies, I think that could be something that will be quite a difficulty for the upcoming days. But let's take a look what they are actually going to agree. So if you would like to see a little bit further about this article, I will be continuing because we are just needing to discuss just 2 more paragraphs. So take a look at the global tax reform. The G7 finance minister agreed to the principles of 2-pillar global tax solution to tackle the tax challenges arising from an increasingly globalized digital global economy as put forward by the OECD. Under the principle of Pillar 1, the largest, most profitable multinational companies will have to pay tax in the nations in which they operate, not just where they are headquartered. These rules would apply to global corporations that have a profit margin at least 10% and 20% of any profit above that 10% margin would be relocated and subjected to tax in the countries where they operate. So this meaning under Pillar 2, these companies will pay minimum global corporate tax of at least 50% on countries by country basis. So for sure, this is very interesting. The rules would apply to global corporations that have a profit margin of at least a 10% and 20% of any profit above 10% margin would be relocated and subjected to tax in countries where they operate. So this tax won't be only for people or multinationals that are actually located in a country where they do not have to pay as much taxes as for example other countries. They would have to pay taxes on every country where they're operating. So that is something very good to know. And let's take a look at the last part over here. Improving climate disclosure. So ahead of London Climate Action Week, G7 finance minister also accelerated action on environmental issues by committing for the first time to properly include consideration around the climate change and biodiversity loss in the economic and financial decisions making process, and to make climate related financial disclosures mandatory across their respective economies. In November 2020, the United Kingdom became the first country to commit to doing so. The push toward mandatory reporting is being discussed by the wider group of G20 nations as well. It is expected that nations will agree to mandatory climate-related financial disclosures across their respective economies ahead of the United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties COP26 in Glasgow in November. So this could very likely be something quite good for the climate movement, but for crypto, I think overall this won't matter as much as the tax reform would be very interesting. So maybe that will also tell something about, well, let's say climate change, and that it will affect maybe crypto mining or Bitcoin mining. But that is something I don't want to be just conspiracying about, because it is very possible that they won't be saying something about that at all. So let's just focus on the tax part for now. If you would like to read some more news about El Salvador, don't forget to go to Crypto News, where you will be able to find this very interesting article about JP Morgan on El Salvador's Bitcoin move, miners win in New York, plus more news. So very interesting. This is about, for example, adoption news, mining news, breaking news, exchange, and also politics news. So very interesting article. I think it's a must read for if you are a crypto enthusiast. And this is also a must read article on Crypto News. Stakes get higher as El Salvador offered volcanic BTC leverage in talks with the International Monetary Fund. And this is for sure more important than any other article right now. And that is also why I will be placing this article right now in the comment section. If you would like to go ahead and read it, don't hesitate to do so. So if you would like me to talk about a cryptocurrency that of your choice, don't forget to place that down below in the comment section, and I will take a look at it. Otherwise, I will take a look at, let's take a look at, for example, what is quite a cool coin right now. I think BNB is quite nice to take a look at. So let's take a look at BNB compared to Bitcoin and where we are currently standing at. So we are currently trading at approximately 0.009 Bitcoin, and what we are seeing over here is that the strength compared to Bitcoin, we saw this major fall, we saw this V-shaped recovery actually, and right now we are seeing higher lows getting created, and especially because right now we are once again bouncing on top of this level of support. So very important that we created once again a higher low structure. That is something that overall is very healthy, especially because the trend then would be probably heading even further towards the upside. And what I would like to see occur after this period of accumulation, for example, I would like to see a new higher high getting started and a new higher low getting created. So for sure something I would like to see in the upcoming days. We already saw this major decline in the price action of Binance on the 4-hourly time frame, and let's actually take a look to the EMA ribbon and what it's telling us right now. So the EMA ribbon, we broke below the EMA ribbon after we were able to break above it, and we found support on top of it quite a few times, as you could see over here, and as well at this period in time. BNB compared to Bitcoin broke below the EMA ribbon, and we saw a momentum switch as well. We saw the shorts taking over the longs, and right now I think we will be heading towards a retest of the EMA ribbon and probably getting rejected by it before being able to break above it once again. This is something very interesting for me. I think if you are right now currently holding Binance and you would like to accumulate even more Binance for your portfolio, I personally think that it is quite probable that once we retest the EMA ribbon, that you will see once again a downward momentum getting started, and I for sure think that is a possible buying opportunity for sure. Compared to Bitcoin, let's take a look at the daily time frame, where we're seeing as well this major decline, and we are trading above this level of support at 0.009 Bitcoin. I'm very sorry, I do have a hay fever at this time of the year due to the spring and all the blossom of the trees. And let's take a look and enable the moving averages. What we are seeing is that we actually also broke underneath the 50-day moving average on the daily time frame compared to Bitcoin. This is something very important and is interesting, because we won't be only retesting the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame, but we will be also retesting the moving average on the daily time frame, and that will be for sure also a major level of resistance. You could see, and during the past couple of weeks, we saw that it was a major level of resistance once we broke below it. it was quite difficult for BNB to actually go straight above it. It got rejected before it was able to break further above it. And what you could see is that once we saw the major move towards the downside, it found support on top of the 100-day moving average. So for sure, that is something that could occur once again, and that we could see the price action of BNB going all the way towards the 100-day moving average at 0.008 Bitcoin. So this is the possible next place where I would personally say we will find a level of support if we tend to break out even further below after retesting the 50-day moving average and the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame. And also, let's enable the MACD to take a look what is telling us right now. What you're seeing is that approximately 1 day ago we saw a crossover on the MACD. We are seeing downward momentum getting started, and it could possibly hold on for quite a while. As you saw, the previous downward momentum was from the 5th of May all the way towards the 31st of May, so almost 1 month, and that is something that could possibly occur once again. I'm not saying it will be, but it could be, for example, also a 10-day downward momentum, and that will for sure have an effect on the strength compared to Bitcoin. So right now, I personally think, I'm very sorry for that, I'm very allergic right now. So the strength compared to Bitcoin, looking very good right now. Sorry, not looking good at all right now. We are seeing major indicators telling us that the price action of the strength compared to Bitcoin is going to decrease, that we're going to head even further below. And what I think is very important about that is that we won't, if we head further down below, and we will be finding support on top of the 100-day moving average, it is of utmost importance, because then we won't be creating this higher low structure, and I think that is of utmost significance once we are seeing an uptrend getting started. So if we break out all the way towards the 100-day moving average, we could possibly be seeing a other type of pattern getting created. For example, maybe we could see a triangle getting started, or maybe something else. It's just a matter of time, but currently I think the price action, the strength compared to Bitcoin, is going to decrease for sure for the upcoming days. So let's take a look at the US dollar, and what we are seeing over here is something quite important. We broke below this upward sloping support line. I think this is very important, especially if we take a look at the 4-hourly time frame where this upward sloping support line was drawn. We already had 2 touch points, and to make this even more significant, we actually needed a 3rd touch point. And once this occurred, we saw the breakdown towards the downside actually taking place. And right now we are currently trading at $334. Very interesting to see that we are still also over here holding strong and seeing that higher low structure getting formed. But once we break out towards the downside even further below this level of support where we're currently trading at, I personally think that the higher low structure will be broken, and that we will have to spot another type of pattern before heading even further towards the upside. Let's take a look at the EMA ribbon right now, because we are taking a look at the 4-hourly time frame. And what we are seeing on the EMA ribbon is actually that we already retested the EMA ribbon once we broke below it. We retested it twice, and once this occurred, we were rejected and broke below this upward sloping resistance, upward sloping support, and currently we are trading at this level over here. So for sure we will be retesting the EMA ribbon during the upcoming days. Compared to Bitcoin, it wasn't holding very strong. So it could possibly mean that the price action of Binance coin will be head even further down during the upcoming days before being able to retest the EMA ribbon. And to actually take a look at the MACD as well, what we're seeing over here is that yesterday during the night we saw a crossover of the MACD, and that occurred actually at the exact same point when we broke below this upward sloping support. And for sure, this momentum on the MACD will be of utmost significance to see where we will possibly be heading towards. And if we see a major move towards the downside getting created, I think it is very likely that we will be heading all the way towards the $265 level. And that is a level where we were able to find resistance previously, because the orange box is a level of major support and resistance. As I told you before, this is what I liked to use on my channel to just let you know where the major level of support and resistance are. And as you can see on the upper area, you are seeing a other orange box where you can, that is also a major level of resistance for the future once we get there. So right now, currently, I think the movement towards the downside will be more likely. So towards the $265 level, that is something I in particular think that is probable to happen. And if we enable the daily time frame and we take a look at the moving averages, what we're seeing is that the 200-day moving average is still below us. We broke underneath the 100-day moving average over here. We were not able to break above it once we tried to, with these candles over here. This was a level of major resistance at $384. And I personally think that the 200-day moving average will possibly be holding strong instead of the orange box, especially because the moving averages are major levels of support and resistance, and for sure the 200-day moving average is. So the moving average at approximately $300, let's say, could possibly be holding strong once we see a breakout towards the downside occur. Also, let's enable the MACD on the daily time frame, where we are seeing that the major crossover could be occurring anytime soon. And once the crossover occurs on the daily time frame, I think it is of utmost significance, and that could possibly lead to the price action of Binance Coin heading even further down, and maybe not even retesting the $265 level, but heading all the way down towards the $200 level. For sure, something I in particular won't be very happy to actually see. But I think it is something that could possibly happen once we see that momentum switch on the MACD on the daily time frame. And if we break below the 200-day moving average, I think that will be for sure very interesting to see once what the moving averages are going to do, because they will be serving as major levels of resistance afterwards. And that is something I won't be very glad to see, because you would like the moving average to be supporting the trend to be able to head even further up. So that is currently what I think about Binance. We will see a major move towards the downside getting started. You are not spotting any type of patterns. Well, you could say over here that you are seeing a, for example, over here you could have seen a minor triangle, but what I always say is that you have to be very patient with patterns. I like patterns to play themselves out on the 4-hourly time frame. For example, if we would have been able to find support on top started, currently we are not seeing any type of breakout outside of the triangles or any breakout outside of the falling wedge or any type of pattern. So that's for sure something I think is important. What you could be saying is, for example, I think some people would do this, for example, place the trend line over here and the second trend line over here and say this is a falling wedge. And I must say this is a probable falling wedge. Unfortunately, we do not have enough touch points on the lower downward sloping support. But this is something I think is quite good to see, because falling wedges, they are very probable to break out towards the upside. So if we see a probable breakout towards the upside, it will be heading all the way towards, let's take a look. For example, if we see a breakout towards the upside getting created, let's say somewhere around here, because I personally think that we will be seeing a retest of this downward sloping support before being able to retest this downward sloping resistance and breaking above it. So let's say it will occur at the 15th of June, or maybe possibly a little bit later. I think we will be going all the way down towards let's say the 16th of June, no, a little bit further, the 17th of June. So then we will be able to retest this upward sloping resistance line, and we might possibly be breaking above it and finding support on top of it, and that would be a confirmation that we will be entering the trend once again compared to the US dollar. But I don't think this is very likely to occur. I think that a breakout towards the downside is more likely to happen. Let's say this occurs during the upcoming days, perhaps tomorrow, and then we would be entering the orange box, and then the price action of BNB will be heading towards the $236 level. For sure, something I think is still healthy if it holds strong on top of this orange box, but I personally would like to see BNB just hold strong where it's currently standing. But the indicators are telling us that we will for sure see a major move towards the downside getting created, and that could be possibly looking something like this. And if you would like to know how much this is in percentage wise, it is approximately 24%. So for sure, something you would like to take into consideration right now. If you would like to accumulate more BNB, this is a possible scenario that will play itself out, and you will see a major discount at $200 to accumulate even more BNB. So for sure, this is how BNB is looking at right now. For all people watching right now, I really appreciate you and your effort right now for watching my videos and all your support. If you are interested in joining our Discord server, don't forget that down below in the description you will be able to join the Discord completely for free and exchange your crypto knowledge with others. I will be also uploading several different well, let's say for example, if you're looking at here, you can see that you will be able to see different, for example, premium chat where I place some trading calls, and I think that is something you do not want to miss out on. So if you would like to join the Discord, don't forget to do it down below. And if you would like to trade BNB and accumulate more BNB, don't forget to use the exchanges down below, and you will be also supporting the channel by doing so. So thank you very much for sure. So does anyone have a request right now for me? So I can take a look at a particular coin. So thank you very much. Otherwise, I will have a small look at Bitcoin right now. I will take a look at Bitcoin once again, and afterwards I will be ending this live stream. So Bitcoin currently trading at $35,363. And what I wanted to take a look at right now is actually not Bitcoin on the bigger time frame, because that is something what I did already on the beginning of this live stream. I would like to take a look at actually at Bitcoin right now on the 1 hourly time frame, and let's take a look if we are spotting any type of bullish or bearish divergence. So let's take a look over here what we are seeing. And what we are seeing, I think, is very interesting. We are actually at the very end, or at the very lower part of the purple area of the RSI. For sure, very important, because once we break below the dotted line, we will for sure see major move towards the upside getting started, and also the price action of Bitcoin heading back up once again. But right now, because we are trading on top of the dotted line, it is possible that we will still see a minor move towards the downside getting started before we will head even further up. But yes, for sure, it is possible that we will be heading up right now as well, even if we did not break below the dotted line, because it does not have to occur to head further up. This is already quite low, and that is possibly also telling us that we will head further up for sure. So on the 1 hourly time frame, we are seeing Bitcoin right now trading underneath this level of resistance at approximately $35,500. We are trading right underneath it, and I think it's very important for Bitcoin to get above it, find support on top of it, because as you can see previously, Bitcoin has been able to trade in between these two levels of support and resistance for a while now, and if we break below it, we will be going all the way towards the $33,480 level and finding support on top of it for sure before heading even further. And as I said, if this occurs, I think it's a major sign to buy Bitcoin for sure at these levels. Eventually, if it breaks all the way down towards the $30,000 500 level, I will be for sure entering a trade position, a long trade position right over there. And also I will be accumulating a lot of Bitcoin at that point. But right now, I currently think that we will be being able to break above this level and trading like we are currently doing for sure. Also because the RSI is so low that it won't permit us to break all the way down towards the $30,000 level, if you ask me. Also, if we take a look at the MACD on the 1 hourly time frame, we are seeing downward momentum right now getting started. So eventually, if we see a crossover, it will be it will be actually a crossover of upward momentum that will be getting started. So we'll see a positive momentum wave, and that is for sure something very interesting, because if this occurs, let's say in the upcoming hours or let's say in the upcoming hour, we will very likely see Bitcoin once again breaking above the $35,500 level and being able to trade in between the $35,500 level and the $37,880 level. And that would be very healthy as well, because then we will be trading inside of this channel, and that could possibly mean that we will see a major move towards the upside or downside eventually getting created, especially if we still see a breakout above the $37,000. Then I would be very happy, because then we'll be reaching the $42,000 level, 42k, that I think is of utmost importance to break above before we will see a major bull run getting started once again, or not getting started, but a major price action for sure entering the cryptocurrency space once again. Also, Bitcoin on the 1 hourly time frame, so it's holding very strong. If we enable the EMA ribbon also, what we are seeing is that I personally think that we broke below it, but let's take a look at what the EMA ribbon is telling us. Yeah, we broke below the EMA ribbon, so the EMA ribbon will be also serving as a level of resistance. And I think most importantly, let's take a look at the volume, and the volume currently is very low, so it's actually not confirming this movement towards the downside at all. And that could possibly be a fake sell-off. So I think because we are not seeing volume that is actually confirming the downward trend, we will for sure be able to head back up once we see volume once again getting started. So the volume right now is not confirming the trend towards the downside for Bitcoin on the 1 hourly time frame, and that is personally why I think that we will be very likely to break out towards the upside. Once again, thank you very much for watching this live stream. If you're liking the content so far, don't forget to hit that like button down below. And also, if you're liking this channel so far, do not forget to subscribe as well. I really appreciate you being here and actually watching this live stream. Right now, I would like to ask you if you are interested in a type of cryptocurrency. If you do, don't forget to place it down below in the comments. I will be taking a look at the comment section to actually answer your questions about any type of cryptocurrency. And otherwise, don't forget to join the Discord server, also possible if you use the link down below, and you will be entering the Cryptotorial community and getting up to date about all the videos and tweets posted online. So very interesting for sure. Otherwise, I will be unfortunately leaving this live stream. I will be leaving this live stream. So okay, right now no one has any type of requests, so let's take a look lastly at this article. As I told before, I think this is very significant. So stakes get higher as El Salvador offered volcanic BTC leverage in talks with International Monetary Fund. There is another unusual idea developing in the cryptoverse which may bring another systematic shift, pun intended, and it involved geothermal energy. Bitcoin mining, playing off debt to the International Monetary Fund and raising an additional USD 1 billion. Some innovative ways. El Salvador President Nayib Bukele has already marked a historic moment in Bitcoin's evolution when the country declared the crypto legal tender. Then he followed that up with plans for El Salvador to use geothermal energy from volcanoes to mine BTC, saying that the state-owned company could provide mining facilities, affordable and green energy. Now the cryptoverse, known for implementing multiple crazy-looking ideas, is taking the new one and running with it. Primarily, they're offering options for the country to pay off the existing debt to the International Monetary Fund, as well as to raise the USD 1 billion currently being negotiated with the fund. Hoisenberg Capital co-founder Max Kaiser suggested directly to Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz to float USD 1 billion in volcano bonds, backed by future BTC mining output, for El Salvador to pay off the International Monetary Fund loan, so they can tell the International Monetary Fund to beat it. And he suggested another bull. MicroStrategy's CEO Michael Saylor joined the effort, arguing there be money to spare. So Michael Saylor tweeted this over here, and let's take a look at what it's saying over here. Entrepreneur and investor Chris Dark said Kaiser's idea is obvious. One of the further argued that should the International Monetary Fund deny the USD 1 billion loan to El Salvador or pose draconian terms on it, Bitcoiners may be the ones to fund it, resulting in the International Monetary Fund becoming irrelevant extremely quickly. So that would be absolutely marvelous news. Let's say El Salvador will be able to surpass the International Monetary Fund by actually mining Bitcoin. That would be something I think is absolutely amazing for third world countries to be able to develop themselves by using Bitcoin and actually don't have to care about what the International Monetary Fund is actually what type of rules and what type of, let's say, what type of, like they say here, they do not have to pose any type of terms to their deals, because they will be able to just fund themselves by using Bitcoin. And that is for sure something that this type of countries for sure needs if they would like to become bigger and more independent, and also get eventually richer in this world's economy. So Tony Delk, I'm saying globally sustainable. If the monetary fund shuts off funding for other countries, should they choose to follow El Salvador, Bitcoiners can't fund every country with billion-dollar loans via geothermal mining bonds. Maybe it can scale, but I'm dubious. So for sure, I think that's true as well. I don't think that all persons on the Bitcoin network will be able to actually fund several countries if a lot of countries start doing this. So for El Salvador right now, it is possibly quite a great hack and a great thing for them to do for their development in the upcoming years. But I don't think that if many countries start doing this, that this will still be a actually possible thing to do, because Bitcoin won't be having enough money to actually pay off everything they actually would like to do. That's different argument, and I see the logic. Bitcoiners can't fund everyone. That is true. However, most countries have stranded energy of varying sorts or are super sunny, etc. I bet millions of resourceful Bitcoiners can work out funding a lot of the International Monetary and Ethereum loans, and that I think it's for sure possible. Also, if you are thinking about Ethereum and other types of cryptocurrencies, I think that is very likely to happen. So in May, Reuters reported that El Salvador was in the middle of the negotiations with the International Monetary Fund for a USD 1 billion program to patch budget gaps through 2023. This follows the USD 389 million approved in April 2020 to assist the government efforts in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. The country's been International Monetary Fund member since 1946, and per the EMF websites, it has received standby loans in the past decades. While El Salvador's financial position in the fund as of May 31 this year reflects the state of outstanding purchases and loans totaling 287.2 million. The above mentioned funds given to the fight the pandemic. The above mentioned funds given to fight the pandemic. The International Monetary Fund already expressed their opinion on adopting BTC as legal tender, saying it raises a number of macroeconomic, financial, and legal issues that require very careful analysis, and that they are following development closely. Regardless of the EMF's actions, Nayib Bukele should issue a geothermal Bitcoin mining bond that pays interest in Bitcoin, wrote Lil Pratt, the Vice President of Strategic Growth and Communication enabler Intelliquent, with others offered the opinion of utilizing a mining token on top of Liquid Network. And yeah, let's take a look at lastly. Some, however, such as Reed Woodmark, Swan Bitcoin, head of client service, who says he studied geologically, are making a distinction between volcanic and geothermal mining, favoring a lateral and in very specific locations, which are not El Salvador. Only Iceland produces a meaningful percentage. Their national electricity via geothermal 26%, and in the US geothermal production has flatlined, while volcano-rich countries couldn't develop volcanic energy production, Woodmark said. So this is Reed Woodmark. Bearish volcanic mining, bullish geothermal mining in hotspots like Iceland, Hawaii. Subduction, volcanoes themselves are too volatile. Gas composition, magma chambers change too much. US, Russia, Japan, and Chile are 4 of the top 6 countries ranked by volcanoes. All are wealthy. None of those countries develop volcanic energy production because their volcanoes are generally subduction zones created. Meanwhile, in Costa Rica, the government stopped buying energy from some private renewable energy power plants, forcing them to shut down, reported La Nación. But one of these companies operating POS and POS 2, I think this is their name, that should be their name, hydroelectric power plants, decided to reopen the business, but this time to rent out spaces to the supercomputers and thus set up crypto mining farm that uses the energy the government didn't want, which is now reportedly a successful business. So for sure, I think this guy might be having a point due to the volcanic mining and the geothermal thing. And I do not have any type of knowledge about volcanoes at all, so maybe it is possible, maybe it doesn't. But I personally think that if El Salvador is able to pay out its debts by using crypto mining with volcanic renewable energy, I think the International Monetary Fund will be very pumped and very, very interested in what the possible outcome will be of El Salvador actually doing all types of things right now with Bitcoin. And I think that will be a globally well-known aspect that is very, very interesting. So thank you very much for watching this live stream for sure. If you enjoyed the content so far, don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below. I would really appreciate if you did so. And otherwise, I would like to wish you a very pleasant day. So have a nice day to you all, and goodbye.